Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name is Mike. It is a Monday, the 20th of May, 11 a.m. and the start of another long week on the road towards $70,000 for Bitcoin. What we're going to go through today then, first of all, we have a Bitcoin Golden Cross to discuss. We are going to do Mondays. We don't have a lot of news because Saturday and Sunday, crypto is pretty much asleep or it's gone away for the weekend. So what we're going to do is have a look at a couple of different things that we don't normally look at. One is the DEX volumes. We've been talking about Jupiter, Aerodrome. We've been talking about WolfSwap on the Kronos chain. We've been talking about Uniswap. We're going to have a little look at the DEX volume, and we're going to have a look at token unlocks. For those of you that like picking up coins after these token unlocks, this is the bit for you. Now, the reason I'm doing this especially is Pyth has tanked. The coin Pyth has tanked, and I'm going to explain why. Because these random price dumps of coins, they don't happen because people get fed up with the chain. They happen for specific reasons. We're going to go through that. Some May picks. May picks are, I think there's 2, maybe 3 coins picked by an expert that we're going to go over, and we're going to say whether you agree with them or not. We're going to have a look at the big buyers who has been buying crypto. GME warning. Again, this is the title of the show today. Be careful. The GME warning, we're going to go over the meme coins that are associated with some real life things that are going on. We've talked about Trump. We're going to talk about GME today as well. So that's the title of the show. Be careful. Bottom right-hand corner, $74,000 is still the target. And bottom left-hand corner, we went over 130,000. We are now nearly at 131,000 followers. So if you're new here, smash that like button. Help us get 200,000 by the end of the year is the target. So that's what we're going to get into today. A few good mornings to Hidden Agendas, to Tariq, to Peter, I believe, and I believe we have a few questions in chat. Tariq has said, can I sell Sol now and wait until it has fallen below $150? That's a really good question, Tariq. What I would say is, I would see what happens today in the markets. A lot of people, and most people are wrong, but a lot of people are saying that we're going to have a good week because the inflows are starting to come back into the ETFs. So what I would do is I would gauge what Monday is like and then sell tonight, tomorrow. If the markets aren't doing anything, if there's no massive pump, I would do that. But that's not financial advice. That's what I would do. Good morning to Peter and Reza. Good morning. And Bullish Bull. Good morning to you. Peter has asked a question. If I was to put $25 into each of the top 500 coins, is that a good idea for the bull market or for the bear market? In a bear market, you should be holding Bitcoin or you should be holding fiat. Those two only. In a bull market, most crypto, it's like the rising tide. Most crypto will go up in a bull market. So if you put $25 into the top 500 coins, you will get the average of the market. So if the market 3x's, you will pretty much do a 300% return. That's how it works. I personally wouldn't go and buy 500 coins. I wouldn't buy more than maybe at the most 20. But that's not for me to say, that's for you to decide. And that's just the way it is. Unify protocol is flying. I haven't checked that out. We're going to have a look at the markets, and then we're going to look at the X-Files. Bullish Bull, is Pyth going to drop with the unlock? Yes, it is. That's the reason for the drop. We're going to go through that when we get to token unlocks, because it's a good thing for people to keep an eye on. And remember, some of the things we cover on this channel, they're websites that I go to, that you can go to if you want to. So you don't have to rely on me to tell you about token unlocks or DEX volumes or anything like that. So we're going to show you a website you can use for looking at token unlocks, and the DEX volume is coming from DeFi Llama. So we're going to show you DeFi Llama. We haven't done that for a while on the show, so that's what we're going to do today. Remember, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel, press the follow button, and yeah, just basically say hello in chat. Right then, Bitcoin is coming in at just under $67,000. Ethereum is hanging around at $3,100. I have my own worries about Ethereum over the next couple of weeks, and that's to do with the Ethereum ETF being rejected, but we've covered that. We're not going to go over it again. So market cap is down just a tad. 2.42 trillion, volume 60 billion to be expected. It's been a weekend. Bitcoin dominance, 54.5%. Watch that number. That number is more than likely going to creep up towards 60% before we even know it. So keep an eye on that. Let's have a look at the gainers and losers then. Pendle is up a touch. Dog with Hat a touch. Thor, Gnosis, Arweave, Solana, $178, 22.6% up over the last 7 days. They are some good gains. Very good gains. So they are. Reza said, I owe you a big thanks. I got some Moneki at half a cent, whatever it was. It's doing great. It will do great, and then it will drop, and then it will pump again, and then it will drop. That's what tends to happen with some of these coins. So you got to keep an eye on them. Remember to take profits. If you are up 200 or 300 or 400%, take something out of the bag, put it to one side, either in Sol or USDC, and keep an eye on any retracements to pick up some coins. That's, funnily enough, what I did with Milk over the weekend. So, with all that being said, let us move on to some X files. We don't need to see losers. We don't want to run too late on the show either. We're going to try and get all of this done in an hour. Remember, an hour. I also hurt my back yesterday, so I don't want to be sitting here for an hour and a half today going over everything. I'm going to try and keep things as on time as possible. So Altcoin Daily, very decent guy to follow. Let's just check. Testing 1, 2, 3. Yeah, perfect. Okay. So Bitcoin exchange reserves are in a deep downtrend. Now, I have been telling you for a long time. Let me zoom in for you. Actually, that's a good size. Okay. So the blue line at the top, that is exchange reserves. Now, it's dropping rapidly. I don't know if this is 100% accurate. It probably is because it's Altcoin Daily. 1.3 million Bitcoin on exchanges. We are now looking at, what's that, about 600,000. These are dangerous numbers. What happens when we run out of Bitcoin on exchanges? Now, I know that's never going to happen because of supply and demand. But what happens when we start to get down towards 300,000 and 400,000, 200,000 and 300,000, 100,000 and 200,000? What's going to happen is the price is going to go up dramatically. And I am not giving you moon boy math. I'm not telling you we're going to $1 million, but there's going to be a supply shock. And I'm going to keep telling you, for those of you that are new here, the supply shock is going to hit us at some point, I think, in the next 12 to 18 months. It could coincide with the all-time high. We could see the very last great bull run. I like that term for this bull run, the last great bull run, because this is likely to be the last great 10x, 20x return bull run that I think in 4 years' time, Bitcoin is going to have such a different market cap till today. Probably Ethereum and Solana as well. They're not going to move 10x in the next bull run, 20x in the next bull run. It's just not going to happen. Even from the lows, it's just not going to happen. The only profit I will be taking is at the peak of the bull run. Absolute. Well, that's your decision, Peter. That is your decision. Okay. Now, Pentoshi published this, and he said, all of your favorite influencers were starting a 10K to 1 million challenge 2 months ago. For some reason, they've all gone quiet. Now, I quite rightly decided to put in my 2 penneth, clearly showing you that my 15K to 1 million portfolio is at 30,365 as of yesterday. This isn't going to get to $1 million in this bull run. It will get to the $1 million at the end of the next bull run. I am expecting this to get upwards of somewhere in the region of 100 to 250,000. That's my target for it. It's a big target, it's optimistic, but I don't like people who say these things because I think it's needlessly calling people out. And it was tongue-in-cheek as well, because he put, happy to announce that as of today I turned 10 million into $100,000 publicly. We'll ignore that comment. Moving on then, very quickly, let's get through some of these as quickly as we can. People in the real world have never heard of WIF, Bonk and Brett and similar cryptocurrencies. However, when they join the bull run and Trump becomes president, I'm certain MAGA is a coin they understand. I think he's meant to type. Now, it's important. Whaleford does have a habit of talking about coins that they want to talk about and shill. But the point that they raise is very important. And this is the thing about be careful today that we're going to cover at the end when we talk about GME and the GME stock. That's GameStop. Now, GameStop is a pump and dump stock that Wall Street Bets on Reddit have been pumping and dumping. Now, what this is talking about, and the point that I'm bringing you to now, is that when you see crypto tokens that are related to existing people or stocks, there is an association created in the mind of the retail buyer. That's what the point is. So if I create a meme coin and call it Apple, that meme coin will do better than WIF or Brett or Bonk if I offered it to 100 people. Out of those 100 people who don't know anything about crypto, I guarantee 80 to 90% of them would buy that Apple stock. And that is where you need to be careful. It is dangerous. Now, MAGA is the coin that they're shilling. Forget that for now. The issue is that everybody's going to create these Me Too coins. So there's going to be Trump, Tramp, MAGA meme. You know, there's going to be tens of them because Trump's running the next election. There's loads of Biden coins as well. Be careful with these meme coins. WIF and Bonk and Brett, you know, because you are in crypto, you can buy them on the exchange that you're on. MAGA is on some of the exchanges, but there are other versions of MAGA on different chains that are just copycats. So it's like this entire den of iniquity. You have the OG MAGA meme coin, which has no association with Donald Trump. Then you have copycat MAGA coins that are doing nothing other than trying to be pump and dumps. So you have to be careful. But the point raised here is the point I'm trying to talk about, and that is that you as a retail buyer will buy the coin that you think you've heard of, and that's where the danger lies. I have an idea for a Biden coin. Call it Walking Ghost Biden coin. Do you know what? I think that would be a cracking idea. Good morning, Danny. Kabir, is that Tate Whaleford? I don't know. I just follow them because they highlight meme coins for me that the market is talking about. So they keep track of the statistics on X and they flag up some coins that have done well in the last 24 hours. So I keep my eye on them. Now, JP Morgan CEO, every bank and government will use XRP and HBAR. JP Morgan CEO believes that every major bank and government will use XRP and HBAR for transactions, as blockchain technology is essential for the future of finance. Now, you need to take what these people say with a pinch of salt, because JP Morgan is talking about XRP and HBAR. BlackRock is talking about Ethereum. The major players talking about real-world assets are talking about Ethereum. So although I'm very bullish long-term on XRP, I am more bullish long-term on Ethereum, because Ethereum, I suppose you could argue that every bank and government will use XRP because there's going to be an XRP protocol written for the banking system. But I think for generating value, they will use Ethereum. For transactions and cross-border payments, then yes, XRP. So I don't think he's saying they will only use XRP and HBAR. However, it doesn't matter. This is massively bullish. for XRP, massively bullish for HBAR, and something to keep another eye on. And again, we don't hold any HBAR. The Oracle looked at the charts on Saturday. It looks massively bullish for HBAR, so we might keep an eye on it. Now then, the last one. So this is, again, I am going to try and keep warning you the longer and further we go into this bull run. And the warning is very simple. And again, this is one of those shows where I might sound a little bit negative, but I'm not trying to be negative. Only you, good morning. Don't listen and believe everybody or anybody that you hear on the internet, whether that be me, Altcoin Daily, or the guy here, Oscar Ramos. Now, I'm not calling out Oscar Ramos. I am saying this is an example for you to understand. There are influencers who get paid an awful lot of money to make videos and to make tweets. Now, we've had one come across our desk over the weekend where they're going to pay us allegedly $1,500, $3,000 to promote a coin. That's what they want to do. Now, the issue is that if you're trying to remain neutral and you're trying to provide advice, that flies in the face of people throwing money at you to promote a coin. And you have to understand that the bigger the influencer, so if you follow somebody that's got 400,000 or 500,000 followers on YouTube or on Twitter, they will be paid exponentially more to promote a coin. $50, $60, $100,000 they'll get paid. So the bigger the influencer, the more money they have been paid to talk about this project. So when you see somebody talking about a coin that's pre-sale, especially pre-sale, in my opinion, and this isn't financial advice, nobody should ever buy a coin pre-sale, especially if it's a meme coin. You do not know the motivation behind the people promoting it. You don't know behind the motivation behind the coin. You don't know anything about it. It doesn't matter if you lose out on that one coin, because that one coin is more than likely going to be a scam. You are on an exchange, or most of you watching me on an exchange, and the majority of those coins that are on those exchanges, 99.9% of those coins have gone through KYC, have gone through AML, have been doxed. So what if you didn't buy a coin at a cent and it's now at 15 cents? If the market cap still isn't that high and it's on your exchange that you're on now, you should be more confident in buying that coin. And the reason I'm telling you this is that influencers who claim to be the good guys and on your side, if you throw enough money at them, they will make a video about your coin. And that's just the way it is. So be very careful. And Jim, this troll coin ambassador, is calling out this guy here because he is forever shilling coins. And again, I'm not having a go at Oscar. This is just an example of the epidemic. And the longer we go through crypto, the more of this you are likely to see. And that's something to be careful of. Myro wasn't supposed to be a dodgy coin. I made a video about Myro for the OG members and said that Myro was going to be a success. Now, when there's different levels of success. I'm not going to say it was going to go to 5 billion, but Myro isn't a bad coin. It might have. There's a difference between a pump and a dump and a coin that retraces massively. Now, we're going to talk about this when we get onto GME, because that's the point of that segment. You can have coins that go to a $6 billion market cap and retrace to $2.5 billion market cap. That doesn't make it a scam coin or a pump and dump. It's had a retracement. The coins I'm going to show you at the end of the show, in my opinion, are hyped up coins that are being pumped by influencers that are going to cause you to lose your money. But that's for the end of the show. So we're going to carry on because I don't want to run too late. So Bitcoin preps Golden Cross, which last sparked 170% Bitcoin price gains. Bitcoin is dishing out the bull signals on lower time frames, but can the price action overkeep resistance? Now, the issue is whenever you see, again, you know what? I've not woken up in a bad mood. I've woke up in a mood where I'm trying to give you warnings. Just because something pumped 170% in the past, it doesn't mean it's going to pump 170% from here. It's likely to pump. Remember, history doesn't repeat, it rhymes. It's not going to pump 170% from here. It will probably move up a considerable amount, but not 170%. So then, let's move down here. The Bitcoin price action lingering near its highest levels since mid-April. Liquidity at 67,000 and above remained a force containing upside around $75 million at the time of writing per data from CoinGlass. So that shows you where the liquidity is. You can see the yellow. Don't let me wait for it to come on the screen so you can actually see it. Yeah, okay. So you see the yellow mark. The darker, or the brighter, sorry, the yellow, the more the liquidity is. So you have, to explain liquidity, you have buy orders and you have sell orders. The sell orders are where that yellow line is, the thick yellow line. And the buy orders are further down under the price action. So what happens, they act like magnets and they draw Bitcoin to those prices. That's very simply how it works. So your whales and your bots will look for, where is the liquidity? Can I sell at a good profit if I go here? Can I buy at a good discount if I move here? So that's all this liquidity chart shows you. So the brighter the color, the more the volume of liquidity. And as you can see, it's sitting at exactly, when you can't see, you would see if it was on the screen, but it's at 67,000 anyway. And beneath that, we're at 65.6-ish. They're the two levels of liquidity. While still below 2024 and 2021 all-time highs, Bitcoin nonetheless excited market observers, with popular pseudonymous trader Mustache highlighting two trend lines in particular. The golden cross on the 12-hour chart is imminent. So back to Tariq. The issue is for selling Solana, he asked. He said, can I sell Solana today? I think we're going to know the course of the week by 4 or 5 o'clock today, which is in about 5 or 6 hours from today. That's when we're going to know the course of the week. Everything is looking bullish, Tariq. That's the problem. Now, I don't want to tell you that Solana is going to go up and hit $200 today. Probably not, but it's had a good week, hasn't it? It's up 22%, and it's not a bad idea to take some profits. But I think at 4 o'clock, 5 or 6 o'clock today, you're going to know where the market is going to move. So the golden cross occurs when a shorter-term moving average crosses above a longer-term equivalent, with the last occurrence in October last year. Now, we know what happened in October last year. October last year was when the pre-bull market started. I'll show you in a second when we look at the charts. The last bullish cross we saw was 6 months ago. Bitcoin has risen 170% since then. Exactly. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean we're going to go up 170%. Even a 20% gain from here puts us at 75,000. No. What would it put us at? 80,000 maybe? So there's a good chance of that happening if it follows suit. Bitcoin seems to be repeating the same pattern from early 24, part of a post on May the 16th. So we've got the Ichimoku Golden Cross, breakout of the Kumo Cloud by price, breakout of the Tenkan and Kijin by the lagging span. Now, for the record, I don't know what any of that means. I know what a Golden Cross is. I know what a breakout is. I know what lagging span is. I have no idea who Tenkan, Kijin, or Kuru are, because I'm not a trader of that stature. Brogan would know what they are. I do not. Continuing Titan of crypto was amongst those noting a transfer of 60,000 from resistance to support. That is very true. However, we've also shown that 66,000 was holding all weekend as support as well. I'm not saying we've moved from 60 to 66, but 60,000. We said on the stream in the week last week, the price did hold 60,000 very well. You don't need KYC to trade on DEXs. Lots of scams and money laundering occur through DEXs. Exactly, they do. That's why centralized exchanges are good for the vast majority of people that are in crypto. Not everybody, the same way that ledgers and Trezors are good for a certain number of people in crypto, but just not everybody. Don't you think that this situation will flip the market? Not necessarily. It could ping the market, but I think the economic data that has come out would weigh more heavily on the market, because the economic data is everywhere. Now, what happened over the weekend, as you quite rightly said, could that be a black swan? It could, except it's seen as a positive by a lot of people because of who that individual was and what he did. There are people celebrating. So there are a lot of people thinking this is good for the world. This isn't somebody who was a force of good in most people's eyes. This was somebody who was seen as a force of bad. So I don't think it's going to move the market. And if it was going to move the market, it would have moved the market last night. These things are instantaneous. Remember what happened a few weeks ago with the Iron Dome and what was happening then? That moved the market instantaneously, and then we recovered pretty quickly afterwards. So I don't think it's a black swan. I don't even think it's going to do an awful lot to the market. Right, we haven't got a lot of time, so we're not going to mention any more of these Japanese chart patterns. We're going to go and have a look at the chart. There's only a couple of things I want to highlight on here, simply because a couple of things have changed. First thing that's changed is, of course, the bull market support band, which is the moving average, is now coming in at a whopping 59,000. So the bull market support band has come up to 59,000. That, I mean, we were talking about, just to put that into context, on the 15th of April, no, let's take the 22nd of April, a month ago, it was coming in at 55,000. If we go back to beginning of April, we were coming in at 53,500. So this thing really is motoring along. And we've had a cross there where the moving averages have crossed. And if we go back to where we talked about, we crossed about here. And look what happened when we crossed. We ripped. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I'm just saying when those things cross, then we are good. Dave the Wave, I covered last week, JC. Dave the Wave, I put onto the show Tuesday or Wednesday last week, I think. Now, we've got all of these different patterns. We're going to go to the daily. We've got all these different bands. Some of them I'm going to remove now. We probably don't need a lot of these down here. Let's get rid of this for now. Right, okay. So, there we go. We don't like too many lines. We've come up and we've had this mini channel which we've broken out of. And what we've done is we've come up and now we've started to bounce off this line here. This was previous levels here, here, and here. So, where are we going to go next is the big question. And this is what Tariq wants to know, because Tariq wants to decide if he's going to sell his Solana today or not. And Bitcoin does lead the pack. If he tweeted today, I don't know. I'll have to have a look. Right. Now, we've got this as a previous example of what happens when we got to this price. What happened then? We came up, we wiggled around for a few days, and we broke back down. Are we likely to break up and wiggle back down? I think we need today to find out. We need the markets to open, and we need to see what is going to happen today. Grayscale has had volume moving in at the end of last week. Over $1 billion worth of Bitcoin moved into ETFs last week. If that continues, then we are looking up towards probably 68,000. I think if we move this up to show you, If you look at kind of previous price actions, 68.3 would be the move up. If we break down, then we are likely, and remember, this actually ties in quite nicely with this volume area. If we break down, we kind of need to hold probably about 65. So today, I think is going to be the decider. Break 67.5 and get to 68. That would be my goal for the day. And then we really are starting to look up towards this level up here, which is the 73 level. We're not a million miles away. Remember down here, when we're at 58,000, we were saying that 74,000 is only 15% away. And since that time, by the way, which was the 2nd of May, and what are we today? The 20th of May. So in 18 days, we've moved from 58 to 67. So we've moved 9,000. If we do another 9,000 move in 2.5 weeks, we're back at this price. So by the end of May, the question today, I think the question today in chat was, are we going to see 70,000 this week? That was the question in chat. My poll, that I've been running is, are we going to get to 70,000 by the end of May, which is 11 days away? I think we're more than likely going to see 70,000 by the end of May than we are necessarily today or tomorrow. But again, I don't have a crystal ball. We could do that. So I think Bitcoin is looking healthy. We needed to hold, if we go back to the weekly very quickly, we needed to hold that line. I mean, look at the weekly candle on Bitcoin. It was incredible. We've moved from the bottom there was 60,900 and we wicked all the way up to 67.5. That was a massive, massive move. Any update on TGBP and Prime Trust? Not a thing about TGBP and Prime Trust from anybody. They've relaunched another GBP coin called One GBP. They've launched that with Damex in Gibraltar, and not a thing. It's still, as far as I'm aware, with the lawyers in court, and I, for the life of me, cannot see why it should take so long. We are almost a year down the line. I think it was June last year when they suspended TGBP. So I've got no other news than that. I do every week keep an eye on things. So Bitcoin today, let's see what happens. Now, this isn't an article. We're going to look at some DEXs. I'm going to look at some websites that I use just to give you some idea. I mean, Phil, the second I hear anything, Phil, I will publish a video about TGBP, because the last video I made, I've had more comments about that video on DMs and things like that than about any other video. So two things we're going to look at then. One is, this is the DEX volume. Now, there is a little bit of a blurred line, okay? And the blurred line is between DEXs, which is decentralized exchanges, and aggregators. Aggregators aggregate the DEX volume, the DEX platforms together. So when you buy through an aggregator, you're actually buying through a collection of other DEXs. I don't want to get into too much detail on that, it's not important. What is important is to look at the volumes. Now, the 24-hour volume on Jupiter on a Sunday, bear in mind, was 825 million, which I don't think you can see on your screen. But you can see Uniswap is at 1 billion in volume. So Jupiter and Uniswap pretty much do the same thing, but the coin value doesn't reflect that. And I'm going to look at the Jupiter price in a bit. I'm going to look at that when we get onto the May picks. Now, why is it important to look at this? Well, if you so happen to like Aerodrome, which is layer 2, base 2 DEX, you'll see that's down here with a volume of 80 million. Now, you are not going to see at this stage of the market Aerodrome, Challenge, Uniswap, PancakeSwap, even Orca, because Orca is, of course, Solana, Uniswap, PancakeSwap, and multi-chains. You know, even Meteora, Phoenix, Radium, Lifinity, they're all on Solana. Solana is just crazy numbers in everything they do. DeFi, NFTs, crazy numbers. But I don't think for base 2, 80 million in 24 hours, remember, I don't think 80 million is a bad volume. And remember, the big thing about exchanges and aggregators, if we go over here, the big thing to realize about them is they make their money on trading volume. The more money that's in the market, the further through the bull market we get, the more and more money Jupiter, Aerodrome, Uniswap, PancakeSwap are going to make. Why? Because they are taking fractions of transactions, fractions of percentages. So a $1,000 transaction today could be a $5,000 transaction in a year's time. That's 5 times the income for Jupiter and Aerodrome and Uniswap. So these guys depend on the bull market for making the majority of their funds. They have also, you know, I talk about, when I make videos, I talk about where does this chain, where does this project make money? How does it make money, right? And DEXs and aggregators are one of the easiest ones to identify. They are decentralized exchanges, or they are aggregators of decentralized exchanges. So when you look at Uniswap and you see it's got a volume of $1 billion, you know that they have made, for argument's sake, $10 million in profit in the last 24 hours. So they've made 300 million, for argument's sake, in a month, $3.6 billion of income in 1 year. Annualized. I don't care what the actual number is. You know what I'm talking about. And that is the same for anybody. So if we take that and we go down and we look at, for example, Aerodrome, which is back over here. Now, Aerodrome is doing $80 million. Even if you take a fraction of that, even if you take $200,000 a day, $200,000 a day is $6 million a month in turnover for a DEX on a fairly new chain, which is going to grow and grow and grow, and it's still making $6 million. It's a profitable business. Now, there is an argument, and I wouldn't be able to argue against this argument, that you should have a DEX stroke aggregator portfolio where you should buy 4 or 5 DEXs and aggregators that you think are going to do well. And you would buy Uniswap, you would buy PancakeSwap tokens, you would buy Aerodrome, because you don't want to buy the DEXs on the same chains. That defeats the purpose. You want to try and spread your risk a little bit. So you want to own some Ethereum, some Polygon, some Base, some Matic chain-based DEXs. You want to buy some aggregators, some 1inch, some Jupiter, and build a portfolio of DEXs. And that's not a bad strategy. We talk about an AI bag or an AI portfolio. There's no reason that you don't have a DeFi Llama. So DeFi Llama, a decentralized exchange one. Now, the one thing I want to show you, and this is moon math. Fair warning, this is moon math. So we've looked at Jupiter, we've looked at Aerodrome, we've looked at Uniswap. Now, this gives you an idea of what the price of a coin would be of a project based on the market cap of a similar project. So, in this example, let's make this a little bit bigger so you can see it. Right. So Aerodrome, if Aerodrome got to the volume of Jupiter, now, all things being equal, let's say they take the same percentage and they make the same money per transaction. If Aerodrome got to the volume of Jupiter, therefore the market cap, it would go to $3.60. Now, you can use this to decide whether Aerodrome is overvalued or not. And that's the point. If Jupiter is doing $1 billion in transactions a day, and Aerodrome is only doing $80 million of transactions a day, then should Jupiter and should Jupiter's market cap pro rata be that much bigger than Aerodrome? And then you can decide if Aerodrome is overvalued or not. So it's not necessarily going to catch Jupiter, because Jupiter is going to become multi-chain, it's going to challenge Uniswap, we know all of this. But it gives you a rough idea of how fair value the price of Aerodrome is. Now, I used this only the other week to tell you that Notcoin was going to be a disaster. I made a video about Notcoin, and I said this coin will not go above 1.5 cents at launch. And in the bull run, I don't see it going above 2 or 3 cents. Why? Because the market cap of Notcoin at 1 cent was about that of Gala and other similar gaming tokens. What happened with Notcoin? It launched at 1.2 cents. I sold it all at 1.2 cents. It's now at 0.6, 0.7 cents. So you can use these tools as a rule of thumb. So you can use DeFi Llama to get your statistics. You can use marketcapof.com, which shows you this. You can do it with anything. So if we said XRP, for example, with the market cap of, let's pick Ethereum. So XRP with the market cap of Ethereum would put XRP at $6.73. Okay, now bear in mind, last week I told you that people were talking about a $600 XRP. XRP with the market cap of Bitcoin is $23.81. Okay, I don't care what anybody tells you. If they tell you that XRP is going to $50, $60, $100, $600, they're talking through their backsides. XRP will do very well to get to $5 to $10. It will. It might even not get above $3 or $4. But please bear in mind, it's at 50 cents. So to go from 50 cents to $5 is a 10x. Where is the money going to come from to pump some of these coins? So it's a good idea. If somebody says to you, Cardano is going to go to $20, there's another good example. Cardano to $20 is what you will hear people say. Now this is a bit finicky. If you don't put the right thing, it doesn't work. So if we said Cardano, with the current market cap of Ethereum will go to $10.50. Now, do we think that's likely to happen? I don't think so. At the current price, of course Ethereum is going to go up, but ADA is going to have to do a 22.5x to get to $10.50. It's not going to happen, is it? So use these tools wisely. I'm not saying take them as a exact science. It's to give you a rough idea so you can base your judgment on things. Now, Aerodrome has ripped up, done incredibly well to get to $2. It's then retraced. I think what I like to look for, so we had this line here which we've put in. This line was broken, but it followed this line beautifully from February to April. For 2 months it stood on this line. Remember, it's fairly new. It's broken down. Now, what's important to learn about where it's broken down is when a coin rips, you should wait for it to find a price where it's comfortable. And that's what we found. And I think Aerodrome, I'm not going to go on about this coin too much, running out of time. Aerodrome seems to have found support at $1. If it breaks down any further, then 76 cents is a good price for this coin. 76 cents would be down here, 76 cents would be down here. If you're holding Aerodrome that you've bought at $1 or you've bought at 76 cents, then I think we're looking good. If you look at this, we appear to be maybe doing this. So if that happens, then maybe we're going to start to look at this. But for me, Aerodrome, I've reviewed the project. It makes money. That's all I care about. Day one, does it make money? Yes. Then it's a Go token. It's not a meme coin which doesn't do anything. It's a solid project. The biggest DEX. It's doing huge volumes considering the size of the chain at the minute. Aerodrome isn't a bad token to hold for me personally in the long run, and I said that in the video. Right, we're going to have a very quick look at token unlocks. We've got 15 minutes left, and we're going to have a look at Dave the Wave in a minute as well. A few comments to read out. Will DEXs be targeted like Monero or Tornado Cash did? They will try, yes. I think the problem is with DEXs is to do with KYC. What you've got to remember is, okay, why are governments going after Monero, and why are they going after, what is this? Is this some kind of advert? There we go. Right, why are governments going after Monero and DEXs? It's not because they want to spoil your fun. They have a duty to protect the financial system, and they have a duty to get rid of bad actors. Who are bad actors? Perfect example is North Korea. How do you get rid of North Korea when North Korea is stealing $1 billion a year from crypto? You close down any loophole you can find, and those loopholes are things like Tornado Cash. I think in the future we might have a hybrid DEX, which is a DEX with KYC, and I think there will be a mechanism for you to use these DEXs and have KYC. So they are like decentralized but validated, but validate you to use them. I think that's going to be the case in the future. So keep an eye on that. A few more comments. Big money won't come into most crypto projects. It's just recycle the money from project to another project. Most money becoming stuck in Bitcoin and remaining there with a market domination of 60%. So I think the issue is with the money coming in. The money at the minute isn't coming into crypto, it's coming into ETFs. If you strip away the ETFs, what would the price of Bitcoin be today? 40,000 maybe? We've broken the all-time high of Bitcoin for the first time ever before the halving. It's never happened before. It's happened because of the ETFs. People cycle money down from Bitcoin when they take profits and put it into Ethereum, layer 1s and layer 2s. Then they go to mid-caps. Then they go to meme coins and NFTs, and then they exit. And that's how it's worked for the last 3 cycles at least. The question is this time, how much money are we going to see going from Bitcoin into these alts? Because what you've got to balance off is there's less money coming in than we think because it's going into ETFs, but ETFs are ripping the price higher. So whereas you might have $150,000 of Bitcoin to put into the market, because of ETFs, you might now have $400,000 of Bitcoin to put into the market. So are we going to see an inflated pump this cycle compared to last cycle? Maybe, we don't know. There's a lot of projects as well, Kabir, that are going to go bust. There's a lot of projects that don't make any money, and people are losing sight of this. And they did it when the internet started. It was the same thing. Companies were coming out that were offering stuff for free, and there was no revenue model, and they just went bust, and that was the end of it. And all the money that was lost was investors' money. When you look at a project, ask yourself a question: how does this make money? And if you can't answer that question, then that is not a project you should be investing in for the long term. Short term is different. Somebody comes out with AI Trump RWA coin, it's going to rip because it's got AI, Trump, and RWA in the title. So it's going to rip for no reason. But long term, look at solid revenue generating projects. Chainlink is going to make money. The DEXs are going to make money. The RWA tokens already will make money from the second that they go live. So look at projects with cash flow and with money to generate. Right then, My thoughts on AIT and FLT, AIT after the new burn strategy, I have no idea, Reza. I'm going to have to go and have a look at it for you. A quick question, why is Unify Protocol flying? Can you make sense of it? Recent X posts, but don't seem to make a difference. I'll have to have a look at that later on. Just put down a Stella Artois, fully imported from Belgium, cool beer. Stella Artois has got various names in the UK for what we call people that drink Stella, and I can't say it on the stream, but it's quite funny. Anyway, moving on. So token unlocks. Why is this important? Because we saw with Arbitrum, when 74% of the supply gets dumped on the market drops for that coin. Arbitrum was $2.20, $2.10. It's now struggling at $1 because they pumped the market full of coins. What's happening then this week? Well, as far as I'm aware, by looking at this, Pyth must already have dropped yesterday, I believe. Let's make this a little bit smaller so it fits. So up and coming airdrop. ARB, there we go. ARB is at 97 cents. That has an unlock in 1 day. AVAX has an unlock in 1 day. But the Arbitrum airdrop unlock is 0.02%. It's negligible. It's not going to make any difference to the price. Look at AVAX. AVAX has got a 2.5% unlock. Pendle 0.03 is nothing. Inch less than 0.01. So what's important? Is it on the screen? You can't see it. I'll have to make it even smaller. Let's see if that comes up. I've just shrunk it even more. There we go. Okay. So what you're interested in is this column called upcoming unlock. And what matters is, go away, is the percentage of the token supply that's being unlocked. In my opinion, if it's less than 2%, it doesn't matter. It won't make that much difference to the price. If it's 5%, 6%, 7%, it's going to dent the price. Now, moving up here, in the next 7 days, you've got NIM, ID, and AVAX all dropping some big unlocks in the next 7 days. There are linear unlocks per day. That's just a constant emission. Solana, AVO, which we've covered, and WLD. So just keep this in mind. This is another good website. It's called Token Unlocks. So far, I've shown you market cap of DeFi Llama and token unlocks. So you have no reason now not to be informed. Add them to your bookmarks, and every once in a week, on a Sunday maybe, go and have a look at them. And from time to time, I will try and pick up those coins and tell you if there's any big ones coming. Right, we're going to move on to May picks. We really are running out of time. So we're going to fly through this. And again, I like these because we get to absolutely crucify the people that have written them. And we're getting through an awful lot of stuff considering what we've got on the show today. So top crypto to invest in right now: Optimism, Jupiter, and Ronin. So they're the 3 picks from Ifani, maybe? Don't know. Let's call him Igedi. We'll call him Igedi. So Igedi has done well with these 3 picks. Don't invest unless you're prepared to lose all of your money. We don't need to read about that. We know about that. If you don't know about that by now. So top crypto to invest in right now. Audi, number 1. Audi allows users to inscribe digital content onto each Satoshi of Bitcoin. I'm not a fan. I get confused because there is an RWA token, and then there is the inscriptions tokens, and they all kind of sound the same, and they all confuse me. But Audi is not one I would pick, in my opinion. I don't see a reason in the project. I don't see where the revenue comes from. Not going to pick that one. Jupiter has emerged as a prominent liquidity aggregator. We've just covered this, so we don't need to go over what it is. We know what it is. It's an aggregator. Now, the token has maintained a prolonged price surge, indicating strong market control by bullish traders. We know why that is. It's putting in huge numbers, huge volumes going through Jupiter. Jupiter, in my opinion, and it is my opinion, in the next 3 years, is going to become the Chainlink of aggregators. Chainlink is the number 1 oracle by a country mile. There's nothing near it. Jupiter is currently pumping out bigger numbers than Uniswap, and Jupiter hasn't even got started. So Jupiter, in my opinion, is going to surpass everything else in the market in the next 3 or 4 years. I've watched a lot of Meow's AMAs, and although I still think they're very young, and it's easy for me to say that because I'm not, I still think they need a few older heads on board because they make rookie mistakes. But you learn from your mistakes, and they haven't got everything right, but they've got it more right than everybody else combined at this moment in time. So for me, Jupiter is a big pick. We're going to go and have a look at the chart of that in a minute. And Ronin, the third one. Ronin is a blockchain for gaming. Its transaction speed is only 1 second and the processing fee is very low, making it the most suitable crypto for making in-game transactions in Web3. It doesn't make it the most suitable. It makes it one of the better gaming chains. It doesn't make it the most suitable. This design choice aims to support the seamless operation of millions of transactions within gaming ecosystems. Furthermore, Ronin comes second to Ethereum in terms of the number of NFT sales. Despite many of the chains, Ronin stands out as the sole platform that accommodated one game with millions of players without affecting functionality. Now, Ronin for me is a good chain. What is wrong with Ronin? The competition. And the existential threat to Ronin comes from every angle. There are other blockchains that focus on gaming. There are other protocols that focus on gaming. There are specific tokens that focus on gaming. It's in the most competitive market. The good news is that it's the biggest market. Gaming is the biggest market. So Ronin will be a success, and that is with the likes of other layer 2s on Ethereum competing with it. That is with the likes of Blazelle and other gaming specific tokens, Sui as well. With all of those still out there, I think they can all coexist. And at some point, we are going to see aggregated liquidity, aggregated chains where transactions can go between each chain instantaneously. So we're at a point where some games can be on Ronin or on Polygon, and you can play them on Polygon whilst having your tokens on Ronin. So that's all in the future. Now then, I didn't draw this chart recently. This is a chart I drew a long time ago. And the reason I drew this chart a long time ago was, we're on the day, we should be on the daily, not on the weekly. Okay, so my price targets. I was buying Jupiter at 50 cents. All this period down here, I bought the token. I stopped buying the token once it got to here. Why? Because this was the dumping phase. It was airdropped. This was the dumping phase. This was the time to buy it at the beginning. Then what happened was we had the euphoria phase where we broke out. And if you look back at some of my streams, I said that this was too high. This value is too high at this stage in the market for Jupiter. And I said it very clearly on the stream multiple times. The fair value of this token is $1.50 based on the market cap of Jupiter compared to Uniswap and other chains. The fair value is about $1.50. Now, we've come down, and very similar to Aerodrome, we've found this level of support, which is at 92.93 cents or 93.94 cents. So we're at 120. And the question is, should you buy Jupiter knowing that it has the highest volume? Well, if you compare Jupiter to Uniswap, Jupiter should be $4.50. So given that it's doing the same volumes as Uniswap, why is it not at $4.50? Because it's undervalued, because the market hasn't caught up to the value of Jupiter compared to Uniswap. Now, one of two things is happening. Either Uniswap is overvalued or Jupiter is undervalued. And you can make an argument for both. You can make an argument that Uniswap is overvalued because it's based on the previous cycle. Or you can argue Jupiter is undervalued because if you just look at the volume and the income, then you're looking at a token which should have a higher volume, a higher price than this. For me, I think Jupiter is undervalued. Now, just to put that into context, Jupiter doesn't, believe it or not, have more coins. Uniswap has all the chains. Jupiter has one chain. So Jupiter has Solana. Uniswap has Ethereum, probably BSC, probably most of the layer 2s. I think it's probably got about 7 or 8 different chains on Uniswap. Jupiter has one at the minute. So if Jupiter has an annualized turnover of about, what did we say it was going to be making a month? Did we say it was making about 300 million a month? So it's making about 3.6 billion in turnover. So where is the Jupe token valued? Well, let's have a scroll down. Are we going to find it without having to search for it? There we go. So Jupiter has a market cap of 1.6 billion. And it is doing 3.6 billion in turnover, of which about 2 billion is profit. So you have a company, we'll call them a company, we have a company that has a $1.6 billion valuation and it's making 2 billion in profit. Now, you can do a 2 or 3x multiplier of your profit. So if you're valuing something at 2 billion in profit, you should argue that Jupiter is worth 4 to 6 billion. Based on the Uniswap price, it's 4.5 billion, something like that. So, is it undervalued? Absolutely. Is it a fraction of its value? Yes. Should this price be an awful lot higher? Yes. It will get there in time. It's a new chain. When did it launch? When did the token come out? November, January? It's less than a year old. So keep that in mind. Why do I think it's $1.50? Because the market hasn't caught up. That's what I'm worried about. It's all well and good me telling you that it's worth $4.50. If you are buying the coin here because I'm telling you it's worth $4.50, you've just seen all of this price action and you're not very happy. So the market needs to understand it's a $4.50 coin and catch up. So at some point, what we're likely to see is a breakout, probably to about $2, and then the more the market rips, the more Jupiter will rip. So that's a big coin for me to look at. Now, big buyers. I still haven't got anywhere near finishing, so we'll keep this one quick. Traditional finance giants bought Bitcoin ETFs last quarter. Again, this is just a list of companies. We don't have to go through we don't have to go through them. Does the market have feelings? No, but emotional traders do. So if you look at the way that markets trade, is they trade with fear and greed. That's why it's called Fear and Greed Index. So when the market is scared, it oversells, and when the market is greedy, it overbuys. And when you know that, and you see a market, you see a coin absolutely ripping, it's greed, and you sell. When you see a coin absolutely dumping to the downside like Solana did after the FTX crash, you buy, like Brogan, the Oracle. He had buy orders at $6, $8, $10, $12, $14 on Solana, and he picked up Solana at $12 and $15. Why? Because the market has feelings and it was scared, and you can take advantage of that. Once you know the market is scared or greedy, you can use that to your favor. There are traders out there who will sell when the Fear and Greed Index is above 70. And there are people who buy when Fear and Greed is below 30, and that's how they trade. And believe it or not, you map that along the chart and you will see they'll have made a massive return. Right, where are we? Let's have a look at this. We'll very quickly go through these, then I'll read some of your comments, and then we will get on to the last article, which is the scary one. I don't want to be signed up, thank you. Right. So we talked about Bracebridge Capital. They bought. We talked about Booth Bay Fund. So there's a lot of people buying Bitcoin. This is what I'm trying to get to. Substantial ETF disclosures also came from top US banking firm Morgan Stanley, Pine Ridge Advisors, huge amounts of money, Graham Capital, Chrome LP. Don't sell your Bitcoin when you are seeing nation states, the biggest hedge funds, the biggest banks in the world, they're all buying Bitcoin. Now, I'm not saying that all of the inflows into ETFs are from these companies. There's probably a lot of retail in there, but just bear in mind, there's a lot of people buying, and eventually some of them will sell, yes, but as long as we keep seeing net inflows into these ETFs, the price of Bitcoin is going to keep going up. And you'll look back in 5-6 years time at this stream when we're talking about a $67,000 Bitcoin, and you'll be shocked that you got Bitcoin for less than $100,000. That's the direction we're going in. You just have to have the patience to go with it. And that is something that most people don't, unfortunately, have. And I understand that. Right, let me read a few more of your comments before we get to the last article. This is a warning. Okay, very quickly then, what's been said. I'm going to buy a coin for a joke and put $500 into it, just like whipping. You nearly made me read that out. Tremp. Yeah. No, that's a good call. We're going to get onto that now. So, OP, could you give your predictions on OP in this cycle? So, this is how I think it's going to play before we get onto this article. Layer 2s sit on top of Ethereum. Sorry, Optimism, Matic, Arbitrum. Let's just pick those three for now. They sit on top of Ethereum. Ethereum is going to tank when that Ethereum ETF is not approved. Now, it's not going to zero. I think we said $2,400, $2,500, something like that. The layer 2s are going to go with it. It's going to drag them down because their value is derived from Ethereum. If you imagine Ethereum is this huge computer, it's the mainframe. And Optimism, Arbitrum, and Matic tap into all of that computing power and use it. So they're not quite outsourcing it, but they're tapping into the security and the decentralization of Ethereum. And they're providing, you know, very much like you see those little birds on the back of a whale, getting rid of all the mollusks that are on it. They are helping Ethereum by rolling up the transactions and applying it to Ethereum, because Ethereum can't cope with that volume of transactions. So when the value in Ethereum drops, the value in the layer 2s associated with Ethereum will drop. I think there's going to be a correction in the Ethereum price when it gets rejected this week or next. And I think the layer 2s will go with it. That's the time for you to buy your layer 2s, in my opinion, not financial advice. You should be putting buy orders now. If you like Arbitrum, if you like Optimism, or like me, you like Matic, put your buy orders on those tokens now for 20, 30, 40% under what the price is, and pick up the cheap tokens. They're all vying for business. All of these layers are in competition with each other. They're all trying to get the volume of users on board. Some do airdrops, some do games, some do DeFi, NFTs. You know, they've all got their own little, you know, niches going on. Optimism for me, I can't tell you why I would buy Optimism, so I wouldn't buy it. I can't tell you why I'd buy Arbitrum, so I wouldn't buy it. But I can tell you why I'd buy Matic. So that's why I would buy Matic. If you're into Optimism, you buy it. Why? Because when the value of Ethereum goes up 4x from here, because they've got the Ethereum ETF approved next year, all of those layer 2s are going to go with it, irrespective of my opinion on Matic or your opinion on Optimism or somebody else's opinion on Arbitrum. The inherent value of those layer 2s is associated to Ethereum, so they will rise in value a lot. And I am very bullish on the long term of these layer 2s. I think if I was a layer 2 right now, I would be trying to tap into either AI or real world assets. Real world assets probably is the one to go for, because you're on Ethereum, so you've got that huge megalith that's Ethereum behind it. And if Ethereum is going to 5x from here or 4x from here, it needs the ETF, but it needs those layer 2s. So for me, they're all going to go up in value, but I think there's going to be a correction first when the ETF gets rejected. Now, if it's a soft rejection, as in, oh, we're not going to approve it now because we've still got some concerns and we'll look at it in December or we'll look at it in November, then it's probably not going to tank. But I think Gary Gensler is going to come out and say, Ethereum is a security. It's got the Ethereum Foundation and Vitalik, and I'm going to go after them and we're going to sue them because it's a security. Then it's going to crash. So somewhere between a 5 or 10% correction and a 25% correction for me, depending on how it's worded by Gary Gensler. But the outcome, in my opinion, nobody else's, is that Vitalik Buterin will not be the head of the Ethereum Foundation in 2 years' time. He will have stepped aside, maybe to R&D, maybe to strategy, maybe to whatever, and they will put a man in a suit in charge of Ethereum, the way that other men in suits take over and run crypto exchanges, the way they run the different blockchains. You look at XRP and you look at even Solana, men in suits. You then look at Ethereum, second blockchain. He dresses as Pikachu. If you're BlackRock, you can't take him seriously. So BlackRock are going to want Vitalik gone. Charles is the same. Charles isn't a man in suit, but at least he's an academic. They will get at some point in the future a man in a suit, whether Charles likes it or not. So they get their own way in the end, and you can't fight them because they will always win because they are the government. So that's a very long-winded way of me saying down and then up. I hope that answers the question. Now, I'm going to give you a very quick overview of what I am talking about. I was saying before about meme coins, and coins in general are not all the same. And you have coins that can correct, and then you can have coins that are pump and dumps. Now, Roaring Kitty, never heard of him before last week or the week before. He's the guy who pumped the GameStop stock through the roof. Well, somebody created a meme coin in honor of GameStop, and it went up 500%. Now, Keith Gill, he was called, he came back and said lots of other things. Not really interested in this, but the meme depicts a man leaning forward from a sitting position, holding whatever. Again, where was that important bit I wanted to mention here? So in 2019, he bought $53,000 worth of GameStop stock. Then he pumped it, and it got to $48 million. He made $48 million out of pumping a dead stock. They made a film about him, and then somebody decided to make a meme coin called GME. The GME meme coin pays homage to the GameStop saga anniversary, showing we can stand up to the big guys together, states the token's official website. Now, I've not made a video about this, which is surprising because I normally pick up a lot of the meme coins that not do quite well, but have a big community around them. And I haven't done one on GME, and there is a reason. And that is that if we go in here, this meme coin went from here to here in 13th, 14th, so in a day, basically in 24 hours, it went up, I don't know what that is, 800% it went up. You, and I don't mean you specifically, you as in the non-influencer type people that don't have insider information, you will have bought somewhere there. Then what's going to happen is this price is going to come up here to below where you bought, and then it's going to go down again. So you will never sell because you all bought here. Now, I'm using you as a generic you. This is not the same meme coin as others because it's pumped by an external influencer from stocks and shares, which is this Hero Kitty guy, whatever he's called, who's pumping this stock. Now, there's nothing wrong with him doing that. It's not market manipulation. It's what hedge funds do. It's what BlackRock do? They're not breaking the law. Is it immoral? Absolutely, it's immoral. It's not insider trading because he's announcing what he's doing. But because he's announcing what he's doing, that many years ago, let's go back one. Many years ago, there were 3 people in the world that were not, that didn't have to disclose the stocks and shares that they owned. And one of them was the Queen of England. And the reason she didn't disclose the stocks and shares that she owned was it would rip the market. That is why she was allowed to not advertise what she held stocks and shares in. There were 2 other people, and I can't remember who they were. I can't remember who they were for the life of me, but they were also like the Pope or the Vatican. I think was one of them. The Pope or the Vatican. I think it was the Vatican, the Queen, and a third person didn't have to disclose what stocks and shares they owned because the market gets manipulated to a certain extent. Because believe it or not, the royalists would go and buy the same stock, or Christians would go and buy the same stock as the Vatican. So, with all that being said, when you see a coin that's ripped by a guy who's got no association with it, this is like you've got shill number 1, which is GME stock, and then shill number 2, the meme coin that isn't even associated with number 1, and people are buying this. Okay, now why is it different to any other meme coin? It's different because people saw it run up last time, and the stock, so they associate that with a run up of this coin. What was I saying before at the very beginning of the show? People don't know Bonk, they don't know Brett, but they do know Apple stock, Apple meme, or Microsoft meme. This is why retail will get wrecked. Again, they're going to get wrecked. So I'm not going to make a video about GME because I don't want to help this coin, because it's not a community on Solana. It's not a community that's built its own meme coin like Bonk did, or Moneki, or any of those others. This is just a replica of what's happening in real life. And what happened in real life was the stock did that for 2 years, and you would have been holding that for 3 years maybe, all the way down here. And guess what? Most of you would have sold there. And what did he do? He then ripped it up again. And then he sold here and he sold here. And you bought there and you bought there. And every single time that happens, it damages crypto. And it damages the reputation. And that's why you have to be careful with which meme coins you pick. They're not all made equally. And some of them really are long-term rugs and short-term rugs. And if you look at, let me think of another one. If you look at Bonk, let's look at Bonk as an example. And we might have to go out a little bit on Bonk. Now Bonk ripped here. Now what happens with a normal meme coin, as I've just shown you, it will pump like that. It will pump, it will come down, and it will kind of fade away like that. And again, you're left there holding this bag, which you're down 80% off. Bonk isn't like that because it's not really a meme coin anymore. It's more of a community coin. So what happened was it ripped and then it died for a long time. And then look, it absolutely ripped all the way up here. And then it came down, found its level, came back to previous all-time highs, and it's still there now. And what's likely to happen in the future is it's going to start to move back up. Why? It makes money. It generates fees. It has apps associated with it. So it's a money-making business, a money-making enterprise now. That GME stock isn't associated with anything. So not all memes are the same. That's why you should be buying memes that are on exchanges, not pre-sales, not sales where you don't know who they are. And it's important that you are careful. Trump is going to rip between now and November, irrespective of what that coin does or what I say or anything about it. It's going to rip because he's going to win the election. And again, it comes back to association. If I showed you Bonk, Dog with Hat, and Trump coin, which one do you think retail would buy? They would buy Trump. Miro is a very good project. While we're on the subject of these coins, now I made the video about Miro. I don't know when it was actually. I think it might have been the start of this year. So I made the video about Miro here. And again, what does a standard meme coin do? It goes up, it comes down, it does this, it does that. That's a pump and dump. This ripped, fell down, found support. Guess what's going to happen next? So be careful with meme coins. This is like either or. I don't hold any Miro. I don't hold. The only two meme coins I've got are Bonk and I've got a little bit of a milk bag, but I've got Bonk and I've got Wen, which was the one that was airdropped to me, because it's not that I don't like the projects. I don't want to hold 150 tokens. I don't want to have so many tokens I can't keep track of them. So I have to be very, very disciplined with my portfolio. And unfortunately, that means I don't hold the majority of coins we talk about. But from your point of view, that's good, because it means I can be neutral on them and I don't have to say, Bitcoin. I hold the majority of my portfolio is in Bitcoin. So of course, it's the safest one of them all. I've got Ethereum, I've got Solana, I've got some BNB. Not a lot of BNB, but some. But I don't hold the majority of coins on here. And if I do, I tell you, and I'm honest. I told you about NEAR when it was at $6. I told you I was going to try and buy some IMX. I think I've managed to get the princely sum of about $28 worth of IMX. So I tell you what I'm going to buy. And we are going to buy some HBAR. So I'm honest. Try to be as honest as I can by remembering to tell you. But I don't hold Miro. I made the video for OG members on our channel and I said Miro needs to break $150 million. That for me is the make or break for a meme coin. If it can't break $150 million, it doesn't then go on to 3, 4, 5, a billion. That's the issue. It will then retrace maybe to 80, 60, 50. That's the clue. Now, Unify protocol. I've never heard of it. What is Unify? How would I even find Unify? And what is it? Let's go and have a look. It's 22 minutes past 12. This was supposed to be a 1 hour stream and my back has cracked. Not cracked. What's the word? Frozen. Right, so it's at $4.66. If you go back over a year, then no, it hasn't pumped. This is the thing with Solana. This is very similar to Solana. Solana was at $270 and then it went to $12, and then people were surprised it went back to $150, which was a 12x from its low, yes, but it's still not near all-time highs. Now, all-time high of Unify, let's have a look at what the news is about this token. There's no news about Unify. Oh, it's going to freeze my machine unless I get rid of it. Right, Unify. Let's have a quick look. I've never heard of it. I have no idea why this coin is pumping. Not a clue. I don't know. I'd have to go and have a look. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be pumping. It seems to be moving back up. If it was at $16 and if it's at $4 now, it's come down 75%. So I'm not overly what's the word? Concerned that it's ripping. It's not anywhere near its all-time high. Remember, the majority of coins are nowhere near their previous all-time high yet. Only Bitcoin and who else has hit all-time highs? old coins. BNB maybe got near to all-time highs. Solana isn't near it. Cardano, XRP. So lots of coins are going to have these pumps. It's when they get to their all-time highs, how much further do they get? Crypto madness, it certainly is. I mean, it could have pumped on some potential news. Maybe one of the team has tweeted something out and let something out of the bag, and maybe it's ripping. The reason I've got near now, by the way, number one, it was cheap, and number two, the CEO said that they had major announcements to make, but he couldn't say what they were yet. Now, that's why I bought the token, based on the speculation of what he says, not really on the dynamics of the token, if you know what I mean. So I have speculated with that. Now, it's the end of the show, but I am going to read out the question this week. Are we going to hit $70,000 this week? 80% have said yes, 20% have said no. Oh, there was another thing, which was Dave the Wave. I can't believe I'm looking up Dave the Wave. Is this Dave the Wave? This is Dave the Wave. Right, that I totally agree with. Diminishing returns, absolutely. The issue with diminishing returns is that people don't understand them. And diminishing returns are, if you do a 10x, then you do a 4x, and you do a 2x, the likelihood is you're going to do a 1x, which means that Bitcoin would get to 130,000, if you know what I mean. So diminishing returns, the value of Bitcoin is so much more than it was 8 years ago. That's what you've got to understand. So I totally agree with that one. Right. So Dave the Wave is suggesting that we're going to rip in June. Lots of people are saying that we're going to rip in June and July. And the reason I don't think we are is that's when traders go on holiday. I mean, I'm going to be completely wrong, don't get me wrong, but my personal opinion is that we're going to rip in September and October. An indeterminate future. Crikey, Dave. Put it on a black background. With Bitcoin currently in a holding pattern not far off the highs, I thought I'd write something a bit more conceptual this time around, with some practical TA mixed in. Something I've found always of interest is the idea of an indeterminate future, combined with the fact that habitually most of us investors tend to presuppose and I've got to subscribe. Oh well. I don't know what he's got to say in the article, but let's have a little look at what his chart says. Yeah, okay. I've seen this before on another stream, and basically we've been bouncing off the 382 fib level, and irrespective of how far we've come down or what we've done, we've hit it time and time again. Now, if you zoom out and you map this, it does make sense. But the issue is, as you go back all the way to the previous bull run, you see this on the left-hand side of the bull run, at some point, what he's drawn is going to break, and we're going to go vertical. Now, he's got a line there. Don't know whether he meant to put that there, which looks at it's about 150,000. I think we're going to have a blow-off top. And I think we are going to rip up from where we are. But how high we go is the question that I don't have the answer to. 4 times previous all-time highs, 240,000. My original target was 105,000. Some people better off than me are saying 150 to 200,000. So you decide, are we going to hit 105, are we going to hit 240, or somewhere in between? It's a massive range, admittedly. But, as I keep saying, Bitcoin's been broken because of the ETFs. We're going to hit a supply shock, and that supply shock could bring us to 500,000. It could. I'm not saying it's going to. The chances of it hitting 100,000 are way, way higher than it hitting 200,000 or 500,000. But rule of thumb is, I think we're going to go to 6 figures somewhere along the line. So I can't believe you've brought up Dave the Wave. Anyway, I think he's right. I've seen the fib levels mentioned, but I just don't know. nobody knows. If anybody tells you they know where Bitcoin is going to go in the next bull run, they don't know. They're lying. One person or 3 people or 5 people are going to be right in this bull run, and they're going to spend the next 4 years living off that glory, the same way Richard Hart lived off the glory for 4 years after he called out previous all-time highs. Anyway, I suppose I should go because it is 12:30, and that's really overrun for the day. So big thank you to everybody for tuning in. Remember, if you're new here, smash the like button, say hello, and whatever it might be in chat. Thanks, everybody. I am back tomorrow. We have got a stream tonight. We're going to be streaming about Nyan Heroes. We were going to do the trading show, but we're going to do Nyan Heroes instead. I don't know what time it's going to be, 8 or 9 o'clock. Thank you, JC and Peter and everybody that's watching. I hope you all have a lovely day, and I'll see you either tonight or in the morning.